Hi guys, welcome back. This is G-Man, My World 67. Well, I've started on this American Flyer Deluxe engine. This is the Deluxe Hiawatha 1936. I've already broke it down. Uh, I've cleaned the shell. The shell was just terribly dirty. I also pulled the tender out, cleaned the tender. I'm not going to do it in this video, but later on, after we get the engine sorted out, we'll begin work on the tender. As you can see, the tender is just everywhere that's exposed is rusted. Luckily, it's all just surface rust, so it's just a matter of cleaning it up some more, getting rid of the surface rust on it. And this also has a whistle in it, and we will be trying to test that whistle and see if it works. Well, I tested the motor in this Hiawatha. I had not tested it. It was the first time I've tested it, and it did not run. But it did click a couple times, and so I went ahead and tore it apart. I actually did an earlier video, but the video did not come out right, so I couldn't go back to basics when I actually broke it all down. I had that all for you on video, but we lost it. So here we are, and I've gotten this motor out and separated the parts and everything. Took it out of its chassis. This is the main front part of the chassis. The front truck sits right here, which I don't have the original front truck or one like it right now. But we're going to see what we can do to come up with one. We're going to clean this up. I have not cleaned it up yet, repaint it. I disconnected the wires here for the simple reason it was a little easier to work on it and fool around with it. This also had the original light bulb in it, and it still works. Here's the rear trailing truck. This is a dual wheel truck. It has 4 journals, but it only has one set of wheels. And that's the way they made them. Kind of neat. You see it's a little rusted. We're going to clean it up and repaint it and get it ready to go back on. Your main front trailing truck, as you can see on here, the wheels are completely deteriorated. And so we're going to need to figure out some new wheels for it. I've been checking and looking because I knew from the very beginning these were going to have to be replaced. I have not found any in several months. I've been looking for them. If you have any, or you know of any, or you know where I can get them, I'm going to give the email at the end of this session, and you can please text me or email me so that I can get with you on these and find out where to go from there with that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to come up with something different, which I do have an idea for that. The rear truck was the same way, but it's in better shape. It's not deteriorated like all that was. There is some deterioration, as you can see. but I think we can salvage the rear truck for now. The shell itself is in pretty good shape. It's really decent, just needs repainted. We've got it cleaned up, and I'm going to take the handrails off of it. Take these domes off of it. At least I think I'm going to take them off. The way they're mounted, I don't know if I want to try to attempt to get them off of there or not without destroying them. Got a little, most of the rust that was on these came off, but there's a little green oxide on them yet. We're going to get that cleaned off of them. This rim also needs to be cleaned. But once we do that, we're going to paint this shell, I believe. Then again, we might not. I don't know yet. The reason why I say might not is because it's not actually that bad. It does have some paint loss. But if I could touch that paint up, we're going to touch it up. If I can't touch it up, then I probably will repaint it. But either way, we'll do the video on it as we go with it. Right now, back to this motor. This motor is a large motor. It's 1936 is when this engine came out, and unusually so. And the reason why I say that is because in 37 is when they came out with the zinc wheels. In 36, according to record in all the books that I've read, these wheels were actually brass. And as you can see, these are not brass. These are the zinc wheels. They do have these steel rims, but that was 1937. So what my thinking is, this engine was made at the latter of 1936. Now there's no date in it. So a lot of times Flyer would write a date on the inside of the shell, but there's no date. But according to the shell itself, in 1937, what Flyer did was, on this left-hand side, they cut this out so that you could easily get to the brushes. The brushes could be seen. In 1936, this hump was the same as the hump on the other side of the engine. And the brushes could not be reached through the shell. So we've got a little work cut out for us. It's not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. Our drive wheels are all decent. They're in better shape actually than I thought they were in. And that's amazing in itself. As I said, this motor did not run, but what it had was actually, it was just really dirty, and it had a intermittent reversing problem. And what I was going to say about this motor was this is a large motor, and at the time it was a really unusual motor, and they used the largest motor that they had for this particular engine. And this reverse unit is kind of unusual. It's a magnetic coil, like a lot of them are. Lionel was still using it even into the 60s. But their version of this was different. I've never seen one quite like this. This plunger actually swivels. So depending upon which side the magnet draws, that's the direction this pulls down and causes the engine, the motor to go that direction. It's a little different. I've never seen one designed quite like it. It's just really a neat motor. The motor itself seems to be in really good shape. I checked it out, got it going, cleaned the brushes. I thought, man, them brushes are going to be wore out. They're not. So it's amazing. It's sometime run it often enough, they will need to be replaced. I was going to replace them. I actually did start to replace them. I put in one brush, and for some reason or another, once I put that one brush in there, the motor wouldn't run. But I took that brush out, put the old brush back in, and the motor took right off. So we'll leave the old brushes in it for now, and they're still good. Still got quite a bit of brush there. Probably last my lifetime, and we're going to go with it from there. Now, what I have done at this point, when I did the first video on this, I hadn't oiled it or anything, but I have oiled it now. I've taken some WD. I've done a cleaning, and this is really switching good back and forth. Give me a second, and I'll get my portable track back up, and we'll let you see how well it does. Okay. And it's fairly quiet, too. I mean, you get the little normal engine chatter that you get from any electric motor with the gears meshing. But overall, it's really a quiet engine. And it just stuck on us. There we go. Not too bad for something made in 1936. Still going. Now this engine is the epitome for me in my American Flyer pre-war O-gauge engines, or just to have a Hiawatha, period, made by American Flyer, particularly for me, is a great thing. I just love American Flyer trains. I always have, ever since I was a kid. I had a Lionel shell, which was almost identical, and I was going to gear it up and fix it up, and it just still wasn't what I wanted. It was not the Hiawatha, and then I finally came across this set, and I purchased it. And we're going to get this together. Like I said, we've got a ways to go with it, but I think overall, given the general condition, once we've got it apart now, we see that the motor is running. I still want to clean it up a little more, and we get the shell redone, get those wheels done. I do need a drive rod, If anybody has a drive rod, that's another thing that I can use. The drive rod for this engine, I only have one. If I can't get another one to replace it, I'll have to try to manufacture one for it. I stuck it in here. And this is what it looks like. If anybody has one of these drive rods and you're not going to use it, or you'd like to sell it, please contact me and let me know. As I say, I'm going to give you here my email at the end of this video, and I would appreciate it. Parts, these pre-war parts are getting very, very hard to come by, especially for the larger deluxe trains that they did during that period. Now these trains, I might add, were also meant to go around 40-inch curves. They were not made for the 37s, the 31s, the 34s, or the old 27s, of course. And my track, of course, is almost all old 27. I do have a couple of old 31 or old 32 curves on it. But they're not full curves. And so, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to run this completely around my layout. But just to have it for me is a pure joy. And not just this, but the whole set. So that's a blessing. All right. And we're going to work on those other cars after we get everything, the engine and the tender done. We're going to pull those cars back out and begin to clean them up and see how they turn out. Well, that's all I have for you for right now. I'll probably do another video later on today or tomorrow, and we'll continue the sessions on the 1936 American Flyer Hiawatha being resurrected again. As always, happy rails to you until we meet again.